So now, for more on Robert Mueller's statement, I want to turn to Julia Manchester. She is a reporter with The Hill and joins us from Washington. Thank you for joining us, Julia.
Thanks, Aarti.
So you were listening in to Robert Mueller's final statement, potentially final statement as well, on the Trump-Russia probe. What was your biggest takeaway from what he had to say?
Well, I think his biggest takeaway in knowing, I guess, Robert Mueller's history and how he's conducted business in the Department of Justice before is that he wants to put this essentially to bed and bed on his case. He wants to be able to leave this behind and retire to private life. He announced that he was retiring. However, he absolutely punted this issue to Congress as to whether, they should explore impeachment hearings. He said that there was no clear indication that the president did not commit a crime, that they would have said if he did not commit a crime. So President Trump's latest tweet and Press Secretary Sarah Sanders' latest statement saying there was no collusion, no conspiracy, kind of the standard White House talking point, but really ignoring the main premises of what Mueller did. And he essentially punted that to Congress and is allowing them to decide where to go on investigations, where to go on impeachment. Another big takeaway and a question that a lot of us are asking is whether the House Judiciary Committee will ask Mueller will subpoena Mueller to testify. Mueller made it very clear that he would like to retire from public life, that he doesn't want to talk about this publicly anymore, and that he will not testify. However, the Judiciary Committee can still subpoena him, and I think it gives us a little bit of insight as to those talks between the Judiciary Committee and the Special Counsel's office and how those talks were going. Clearly, Mueller was adamant about not testifying, but we've heard mixed messages coming out of Jerry Nadler's office essentially saying, oh, well, he'd prefer to testify in private, but he clearly doesn't want to testify in general.
Another important aspect to this as well is, of course, everyone has wanted to hear from Robert Mueller himself because there have been different sort of dissections of the summary that was released and then the redacted version that was released by Attorney General Barr. And we know for what Robert Mueller was saying is that he didn't have an option to charge the president if, in fact, he found enough evidence because it would be unconstitutional to do so. So now, hearing that from Robert Mueller, how do you think this is going to play out when it comes to public opinion?
I think in terms of public opinion, it could shift a little bit on this topic. When the Mueller report was officially released a couple of months ago, I think a lot of Americans saw that and they saw it as a cue to move on to other kitchen table issues such as healthcare or the economy. And I say that ahead of the 2020 presidential election. However, Mueller's office very much left that door open today as to where Congress should go from here. And you're actually seeing a lot of 2020 presidential candidates who did not want to talk about impeachment previously because they know that the American public in general, polling shows that they are not in favor of impeachment. After that press conference, you saw that Senator Cory Booker, Congressman Seth Moulton are now calling for impeachment proceedings to begin. So it'll be interesting to see how and if Mueller's press conference really shifts public opinion, because he definitely very clearly left that door open. However, nothing new was essentially heard from the press conference. I mean, it was all kind of a iteration of what was said in the report. So, it'll be interesting to see how Americans digest this version of information and if they're willing to go through, going through impeachment, because obviously whenever a president is impeached, whenever it happens in Congress, it is a huge national scenario that plays out. And I don't know if in this partisan environment we see coming out of Washington, if the country really has the appetite for that at this point.
You mentioned there how this is really a decision that we're seeing a lot of reaction from Democrats. We know, as far as I'm aware, there's only one Republican, which would be Congressman Justin Amash, who has talked a little bit about the impeachment process. Do you think that not only for Democrats, as you've said you've seen, but do you think part of the reaction from Republicans might shift as well?
It's very hard to say that. I would highly doubt it, but I don't want to say never. Justin Amash is a bit of an anomaly. I would like to remind everyone that he has, sometimes been a bit of a maverick within Congress. While he's conservative, he is a libertarian, and we actually have seen Republicans in Congress really turn their backs on him after he came out in favor of impeachment. I mean, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who is Amash's boss, has really gone after him for those comments. And we have to remember that President Trump still enjoys widespread popularity within the Republican Party. So I don't really anticipate much of a shift within the Republican Party, but you never really know these days.
All right. Well, we appreciate your analysis today, and we know it will continue to develop throughout the day as well. Thanks for this, Julia. That is Julia Manchester, reporter with The Hill, and she joined us from Washington.